What is up, people? It is Wednesday, September the 14th. NFL season is here. College football has been here for a couple of weeks, and the Wire Sports Podcast is here with an all-new season, and it starts right now.
I'm going in, it's first and 10. I'm a legend boy, a champion. They can't match the flows, the X's and O's. I'm breaking the code, devastation about to unfold. They calling me Derek by the way I roll. Bet you never ever seen a pro this cold. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I mix with Iron Mike and the great Ali. I'm a run it back, believe me baby. I fathered the game, call me Daddy Brady. I'm like that, try be like this. Sammy Sosa, that boy don't miss. It's the return of the greatest. Any way you name it, I'm everybody's favorite. I'm bringing the pain and bringing the fire. Hey, stay tuned, it's going down to the wire.
Yes, sirs. We are in the house. I was going to say yes, sir. Then I realized that there's more than one of you. How you fellas doing?
Hey, this is the best season. This is the start of the NFL, my friend.
Oh, God.
I know we've all been excited about this.
Gotta love it. It was a weekend of crazy games. That's absolutely what we're getting into. We're going to do our traditional pass and play. What I do want to hop into real quick before that, just because it's been so engaging, and we've had some requests in the past to cover a little NCAA. We're not going to do it all season. We really do stick to the NFL a lot. But just starting off, let's do something a little bit new. Out of all of college football, everything that's gone over the past 2 weeks, I'm just curious who you guys have your eyes on this season and why. And whoever wants to get us started for the season.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, go ahead, Sahe.
The thing I got my eye on this season, because I'm not a huge college football fan, per se. I'm not like huge into it. I used to be a big Michigan State fan, but that's when I was like a kid. But I kind of converted to be like just root for Ohio State whenever Ohio State's on, because I'm in Ohio, right? And I'm watching Ohio State play. That first game against Notre Dame, it was a lot closer than it should have been, for the simple fact that their quarterback, CJ Stroud, refuses to take off and run with the ball. Right? He wants to sit back there like Tom Brady. And he has the potential to move a little bit. He doesn't have to be Michael Vick. But god dang, man, you got to get the defense to at least think that you're going to run at least sometimes, There's a play where he stepped up against Notre Dame in the pocket, and he incompleted the pass, but the field was wide open. It was a third down. He could have ran for the first down. You know what I'm saying? And Kirk Herbstreit was like, so this is how teams are going to play Ohio State all year. 2 safeties back, and you're not going to beat us with anything long. You're going to have to, make quick decisions and throw it short. And when you got 2 safeties deep, that's a lot of room to run if those safeties are getting out of there covering deep. And if you want to maximize your potential, especially in the college offense, you're not going to be able to just throw it around all over the place. Not every down. You got to give that defense something else to think about. And I just don't. That's why I feel like Ohio State is going to struggle in those big games, because CJ Stroud is one-dimensional, and if the actual running game from the running backs isn't working, it's going to be a long night, because defenses don't have anything to worry about with him using his legs, which is one of the most dangerous and most frustrating things for defense. And that's the thing I'm getting my eye on. How many rushing yards is CJ Stroud going to have this year? He's got to have at least 300 for them to win the college championship playoff.
Absolutely. And we've talked about it on the show before with Ohio State. The problem is they don't really get the big games all that much in the regular season. So you have to judge their merit based on these big, blowout style type wins. But it's very evident this season. I completely agree, Sahe, that there are a lot of mistakes being made, a lot of missed opportunities, even though What was this one? It was like 40-12 or something like that. 45-12, I think.
Yeah, their last game, they played somebody weak.
Arkansas State, and there were still mistakes all over the place. So it's just something to think about if you're going to go up against some of these other big hitters in the divisions that do regularly play big games. Richie, looking at NCAA, and I know it's also not usually your main focus, is there anybody that you've got your eye on this season? Team or player-wise? Oh, you're on mute. Sorry.
Wow, that's hilarious. Yeah, I do have somebody. Georgia Bulldogs, man. Obviously, they're reigning defending champs. They waxed Oregon. So people don't know, I think it was 49-3. It wasn't even close. And I got my eyes on Stetson Bennett. He looks like a future senator, that guy right there. That's their quarterback, Stetson Bennett. And he's a small dude. You and me and my white boys, man. He's a small guy. He's not what you would call athletic, but you know what he is? He is a pocket passer. He's got good presence, and honestly, this season so far, looking crisp. We'll see. I mean, he threw 7 interceptions last year to like 32 or something touchdowns. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not one of those dudes, but I still believe Stetson is on the best team in college football. And I think, just like anything, when you're a front runner, when your team's that much better, you tend to play better than you are. And honestly, Stetson isn't the best quarterback in college football, but he's going to look like a top 3 one just because of Georgia. And once again, I just don't see the Bulldogs losing, man. They're just they're a Goliath. Alabama, on the other hand, not that they don't deserve to be number 2, but that's exactly why they went from 1 to 2, and they flip-flopped real quick. Alabama has been struggling to win their games, in my opinion. This is not the Alabama we're used to. I don't want to talk about Ohio State being 3rd. Ohio State won't make anything. Who cares? They'll be top 3 the whole season. I'm an Ohio State hater for life. We all know this. They're a trash organization for the talent they have. They literally have as many drafted people as Alabama when you look at the last 7 years, and yet they've nothing to show for it. Nothing even comparable to show for it. So that's why I refuse to talk about Ohio State. They're not worth discussing. How can you have an organization with equal talent and be that terrible when it really matters? It's just frustrating to look at. I can't really liken it to anything off the top of my head. Maybe it's like the Bills in the 90s and the 80s, where they went to 4 Super Bowls and lost every time. Maybe that's Ohio State. I don't know. But Ohio State is always solid, amazing talent, but it's never worth discussing because they're never there. So let's move on.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Only on the aspect of, I think with all these divisional moves, I don't understand why they're sticking so heavy to the Big Ten and not making bids to try to get out of the Big Ten. We've seen it. It's possible. You don't have to live on a certain side of the country to play against the big dogs now. And Georgia, to your point, is the big dogs. I actually felt terrible. Watched this whole thing about Oregon. They lost a player that was very near and dear to them. Crazy story. Went from rough upbringings, turned it all around for college football season. They dedicated the game to him. They got the sticker on his helmet. And I'm like,
hey,
just wait till week 2.
They got 3 points. So
they got maybe that's what it is. They just pulled it off
I mean it.
Yeah.
Again, they're like, even though they're ranked 11th, or there is that big of a discrepancy. And I agree with you, obviously. You don't want that game, that ceremonial game dedicated to your fallen comrade to go that way. But you can't hold it off to game 2. You got to try. So they got their 3 points. They did what they could do. They're just outclassed. There's nothing else.
Spencer, something I know now they're gonna go. I did watch the coach is going to take the team up at the end of summer camp up Spencer Hill or Spencer Point, a mountain near them. So, shout out to Oregon for that, and shout out to Georgia. They're looking stout. Alabama had a tough time with Texas. Ended up being a cool game to watch, and maybe that's the ploy here. But one might think that game should have been more of a blowout. So,
you're not going to run into Utah State all the time. So,
yeah. Absolutely.
Especially after their starting quarterback getting hurt. But Texas, hey, they're for real, man. That defense, wow.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I agree. Texas is definitely better.
Texas is back.
And it's good to see. But, yeah, Alabama, what are you doing? Come on.
100%. Well, all right, let's get on to what we're here for. Let's get into the NFL a little bit before we get to the half. Lots of games. You guys know how it works. For those of you just turning into the wire, we play a little thing here called Pass or Play. We're just going to go through the games. A lot of pretty great games on the week opener. It all started on Thursday with the Super Bowl champions taking it on the Buffalo Bills. A lot of people last season thought the Bills could have and should have been in the Super Bowl. Fellas, the Bills took this one away 31-10. Do we want to pass or do we want to play?
Yeah, let's play it. It was a home opener.
Absolutely.
Against the defending champs. Why not?
Who wants it first?
I'll start it off first.
We'll
go with the trend of the white boys, man. Josh Allen with that ridiculous stiff arm. Let's go, man. Honestly, this game, what I'll say is I'm a little confused with what Sean McVay's game plan is long term. I feel like Cam Akers, I don't know what's going on with that situation. For those of you who don't know, he only had, I think, 4 or 6 rushing attempts for 0 yards, and he did not play. He basically did not play the game. So I'm baffled at what's going on. Is there something, off the field related? Is it something personality issues that they're not happy with Cam right now? I don't know what's going on. I don't feel like Buffalo being easily a top 3 team in the league, period, regardless of the outcome of this game. That's the game to be like, all right, let's sit him on the bench. I don't know what they were doing. Losing Andrew Whitworth was a huge deal. Man, honestly, Matt Stafford was on his butt a lot, and I'm not hating on Matt Stafford, but that was a Matt Stafford game when he doesn't get to stand up like he did last season. The Rams had great pass defense. Sorry, you know what I mean? Pass protection. I said defense. I meant pass protection. They did very solid last year, and Stafford showed it. Well, this game with, the new acquisition of Von Miller, who's looking like Von Miller of Denver a few years ago, it's going to be rough. Buffalo looks incredibly talented. It's still one game, so we don't want to start talking about who's the best in the AFC and stuff like that, but they look like they just left that game in Kansas City and were ready to go. And, most of the other teams in the playoffs, it was the opposite. So Buffalo is off to an extremely hot start, and that's what you can expect from them week in and week out. They're talented. Their wide receivers are going to go crazy. Buffalo is a contender for sure.
Absolutely. Sahe, what did you make of the Bills and Rams season opener game there?
Man, the Rams were not ready to play. And I think the deal with Cam Akers there coming off that Achilles injury, he came back pretty quick last year. They needed him in the playoffs, so it's like, it's now or never. So he got to play, but they got a long season ahead. Let's bring him. You're not going to win the Super Bowl tonight on the first game of the season, first night of the season. So let's bring him along slow and make sure he's healthy for the playoffs is what I think is the idea here. But I think the biggest takeaway from that game, if you had to choose the biggest, the number one thing, is Von Miller going from the Rams to the Bills and just completely destroying the game. He had a field day. It kind of changed what they wanted to do on offense for the Rams. And it just seemed like the Rams got away from what the Rams were the last few years, the quick game, the quick screens. They don't have Robert Woods in there anymore. They rely too heavily on Cooper Kupp.
They did.
Although Cooper Kupp is fantastic, you gotta, especially when you're getting sacked like that constantly and you're getting pressure on Matthew Stafford, you got to get the ball out of his hands quick. Kind of a Jared Goff style offense that they had. I feel like they rely too heavily on Matthew Stafford to win them the game. Like he's a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady. He can make great plays and great throws and be big in big time moments, but he's not going to be the X factor in the game as far as he's going to control the game, take it over, call it out, and you're winning because of Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is a piece that you fit in an offense that's going to do great things occasionally here and there and play big in big moments. And I just don't think those guys are fired up. Super Bowl hangover for sure. They've got the Bills who were hungry, right? They felt like they should have been in the playoffs, to like what Richie said. So they're going to come out firing on all cylinders, like, yo, like this is our season. We're going to make a statement now. And the Rams are like, yo, we just won the playoffs. We just here to start the season. And you kind of seen that. And you kind of seen that in the pursuit and like the way the Rams were playing. That game got away quick early, and I think both teams are going to be in the mix late into the season. But good on the Bills for putting it on them early, giving us the show.
I mean, honestly, Buffalo, it was funny. The Rams, it looked like they were like, whoa, come on, guys. This is still preseason, right? Relax. But it's like,
right.
This is the opener, dude.
No, this is the real deal, y'all.
The season has started. Absolutely. I just want to point out, we'll get into select and then we'll go to our break in a second. But I do want to point out, this is the first. I'm only going to bring up my conspiracy theory at the end that feeds into a conspiracy we have. This is the first sequence of, let's see, Von Miller switch sides, and here he is, season opener against his previous team. Next, we've got Eagles versus the Lions. Eagles took that one 38-35. We want to pass that one, or we want to play it?
Eagles and Lions, we could pass.
To me, I say pass. So, here's my thing. I'll say pass. Thank you to Swift, and thank you to my boy. Well, actually, both my boys. Apparently, Jalen Hurts, who I didn't want to draft, but nonetheless, my Eagles came through in fantasy. So, thank you. Honestly, AJ Brown, I had him last year, and I have him this year. So, AJ Brown had a monster game, 26 points of fantasy for me. Thank you, brother. Jalen Hurts did his thing, 22 points. I mean, that's the best I'm going to get out of Jalen Hurts. And Swift had like 28 points. So thank you, Swift. But I mean, high scoring game. They came out to support Detroit, and that's one thing AJ Brown said. So I just want to, give a shout out to the Lions, who have always been terrible. Sold out game. AJ Brown said they couldn't hear each other talk. So they had to do silent count. So that's great to hear. For a team and a franchise that's been so historically bad, that they're actually excited. And as you can see, their performance is, indicative, hopefully, of things to come.
Yeah, that's the power of MCDC. But I can't wait to see the Eagles offense against the Cowboys defense here coming up. That's going to be.
That's about all the Cowboys got left. We'll get into that here in a little bit. The 49ers and the Bears. We want to pass or play that one. The Bears took
We
this
got to
away
play it
19-10.
just for a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got to play it even if it's for 15 seconds. I don't know if you guys saw that scene at the end of the game where they were literally sliding. It was like a water slide on the field. That was so funny to me.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. And you know what? That was just one of those games you love to see. And I mean it. Those games are football. Sometimes the elements take over and your game plan is out the window. And shout out to Chicago, Justin Fields. Everyone's been smack talking him. Well, in the elements,
Ohio State.
In the elements, they made it happen. And those are those nasty, ugly games. Sometimes it's not going to be that pretty Detroit, Philadelphia high scoring game. Sometimes it's going to be guys on the slip and slide. And that was a crazy game. We have a lot more crazy games to talk about, but we don't see those often where it's like raining like that. So that was pretty cool from my perspective as a fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good on Justin Fields. Good on Justin Fields, man. I just want Justin Fields to do good. I really love him as a quarterback, and I don't think he gets talked about in a way that is good as he is. I watched him on the show QB1, if you guys remember that show. They had 4 quarterbacks. I think the only I forget, he was Georgia's quarterback for a while. What was the guy's name? Somebody's going to put it in the comments or something, but Georgia had a quarterback on that show. It was him, Justin Fields, Spencer Rattler, and another dude that went to like North Carolina State. And from that show, I knew how special Justin Fields was. He was in practice in high school, putting the ball like on the chest on deep routes on receivers in the back of the end zone with like a whole team of defenders around him. I'm like, this dude's got special arm talent. And I feel like he's going to be one of the guys that brings the Chicago Bears back into prominence. Hopefully they get it settled out with Roquan Smith. as far as his contract. But man, I turned it from the Bears and the not the Bears, but the Browns and the Panthers game to watch that game because the Bears were in the mix of it. Then they took the lead and some wonky things happened, and it was just kind of exciting to see them win. I was like, I wasn't expecting that at all.
No, I don't think anyone was. San Francisco is, again, a lot of people say a playoff caliber team and could easily be a Super Bowl contender, Trey Lance being the question mark. And then you see Chicago, who was terrible last year. So, I mean, that excited me. I love seeing Chicago come out with a game like that. The rain completely changes the dynamics of the game. And like everyone said, like Justin Fields has been completely like ripped for no reason. And obviously, it's not like he had a great game, but nonetheless, found a way to win. It was a cool game to watch.
Absolutely. Reminiscent of some of the old Bears days. Makes me think back to like Urlacher and some of they're good at these elements, Richie. Like as you mentioned, Chicago's built for that.
In Chicago, that's a Chicago special, man.
Yeah. Well, the next one on my lineup is Steelers Bengals. I know we got to get into that one. I'm not even going to ask. We got a Steelers and Bengals. We got two Steelers and a Bengals fan on the panel here. We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, we'll get into the rest of the pass the play. I'm not going to pitch a whole lot here. Just listen to the ad. Take this time to go check out our Patreon. We could really use the support. And also check out the Wire Sports Podcast on YouTube. If you're watching us on Facebook, click that YouTube link. Go over there and give us some love on YouTube. We don't even care if you like the Facebook video, to be completely honest. Go over to YouTube and click the link, and we'll see you here in just a few minutes. Wire Sports Podcast. We'll be right back. That's right, folks. H2G Radio. We are here, and we're trying to make it happen, and we just need your help. So go support us. We're back on the Wire Sports Podcast. We're doing our NFL rundown, and we have come to the Steelers-Bengals games. I'll go ahead and ask, just in case I was assuming too much, do we want to pass or do we want to play this one?
We'll play it.
All right, let's play it. Richie, you are our perennial Bengals fan. Do you want to lead us off, or Sahe, do you want to take it?
You can go, Richie.
Yeah, sure. Here's what, from a Bengals fan's perspective, and I am a Bengal loyalist, so I don't want to hear any garbage just because I don't agree with some other people. They should have never. This game shouldn't have been so close. They don't deserve a tie. They should have lost. I'm actually more disappointed in Pittsburgh that you had 5 turnovers and like this game was what it was. And I talked to the guys off camera, that like there's like a little fudge extra point, which led to the overtime, etc. My big thing for the Bengals is I'm fine with this, being a loss. I'm fine with what happened just because Zach Taylor's mistake, which is something I talked about off camera as well. He gave Pittsburgh time that he could have drained another 19 seconds in overtime and go for the, and actually get the tie. That probably would have been the difference to get the tie. So from a coaching perspective, you have a young coach. He's in his 3rd season. Everyone was all super amped about him last year. And they talk about how in the locker room, the guys like him. Well, it's never been, clearly that's the case. But one of the concerns has always been his play calling. He's very aggressive. And quite frankly, I don't think he's the best play caller. I don't think he's a great coach. I think, like, for instance, like last year I said it, Mike Vrabel is who I think of as a fantastic coach, like a top coach. If I had Mike Vrabel in Cincinnati, I feel like we'd win. Like, period. Or obviously not the Pittsburgh give me Mike Tomlin. Just if I had somebody who's calling better plays, these Bengals would be in a better spot. I'm not saying Zach Taylor can't get there, but it's a young team and a young coach, and that game's loss is on the coach. 1, for them not being ready, having that Super Bowl hangover, and 2, that ridiculous 19 seconds that allowed Pittsburgh to go down and get that field goal. So kudos on Pittsburgh for making that happen. Most bummed about TJ Watt having the injury. It's supposed to be a pec injury. If that's the case, he's out for the season. You never want to see that, especially in a game 1, let alone any point in the season. So for Cincinnati, it's whatever. It was a bad game. I'm not really worried about it. My offense, even with 5 turnovers, still look, quite frankly, scary, all things considered. Joe Burrow will be fine. It'll just probably make him play better the next game. But nonetheless, hey, I smack talking Pittsburgh, and even though it's still not looking great, good job, Pittsburgh, and way to go, Mitch Trubisky, for getting that starting position and making it happen.
Oh, you make me
I just
sick.
hope that anemic offense figures it out, because their defense looked great. We'll see. And even though TJ Watt's amazing, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, you can't worry about it too much. It's Pittsburgh. It's like next man up. They always find a way to play well in terms of, like, if somebody goes out, they always make it happen. So I still think they'll be okay on that side. It's more about their offense and not, Najee being okay and then them figuring something out on offense. That's my concern for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As a Bengals fan, this game was one game. If, game 2 goes really bad, that's when I'll start, okay, let's really assess this. But it was a really bad game. They were not ready to play. Zach Taylor coached poorly. And, Pittsburgh did what they could do. I think they were coached well, to my point. And I think that was the difference, is the coaching and getting them ready.
Absolutely. Lots of injuries in that game on both sides. I will say it looks like McPherson's back and good to go. One of the many injuries on my fantasy squad, but we won't get into that. Sahe, Steelers fan as long as I've known you. What did you make of the Steelers-Bengals game?
Oh, man, just a classic rivalry matchup, right? Let me clear this up for you guys. I'm a diehard Buccaneers fan, all right? Diehard Buccaneers fan, that's my squad. However, my whole family grew up Steeler fans, so I always enjoyed watching the Steelers play. They're just one of those teams that no matter what the circumstances, they're going to find a way to win. And hence, Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season since becoming the coach however many years ago, which sometimes
16.
seems like yesterday. Yeah, 16 years ago. And it's like, the Steelers just got a new coach, Mike Tomlin, but he's been there 16 years, been winning the whole time, right? Very concerning on the offensive side of the ball. But then again, they've got a whole new squad, new pieces out there. They don't have Juju out there anymore. They're trying to keep Chase Claypool quiet, stop doing dumb shit all over the field. But it was just a classic game. But what I am concerned is with Joe Burrow, man. He's oh shoot. Big play just happened in the game we're watching. But Joe Burrow, man, those 5 turnovers for the offense is highly unacceptable. Highly unacceptable. I'm afraid that Joe Burrow, he's seen a lot of success early, and he's low-key like transforming into Johnny Manziel. He's got to stop trying to be what people want him to be and be who he is. Stay within the system. Stay within himself. I seen he had a picture somewhere with Jamar Chase showing the diamond grill and all this other extra stuff, man. We don't want to see you doing that. We want to see you in your playbook. We want to see you leading those guys on a successful season. You just went to the Super Bowl. Coming out, throwing interceptions, having multiple turnovers as a unit is not acceptable. And you're playing a team that doesn't have any offense. Granted, they have a really good defense, but you just would want to see better. I think they will be better going forward. This is a huge wake-up call for Cincinnati. I think they'll be able to turn it around. So we'll see. It's a very interesting rivalry. It always goes back and forth. One of the greatest things you ever see. And it was just a fun game to watch with all the flukiness going on. The Steelers hit one off the goalpost. Cincinnati's long snappers hurt, so we got snaps going over the holder's head. Evan McPherson, one of the snipers in the kicking game, missing kicks, ones that you think he should make even through the laces. just a fun game to watch. It's just added to the excitement of Week 1. And it's just like why we love football, right? Just one of those games that we can sit back and like, wow, this is why we love the game, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think nobody would have said Pittsburgh was beating Cincinnati, at least in Cincinnati game 1. So that's why you got to play the game, and that's why football is awesome.
Not to mention Cincinnati skunk Steelers on the last 3 and have that Super Bowl momentum, as you said. But I will step in. This is one of the few conversations that you'll ever hear my take on. But I'm actually going to give Joe Burrow a little benefit of the doubt coming off of Sahe's point there. He was dealing with a Mika Fitzpatrick, Cameron Hayward, and Alex Highsmith, who I couldn't remember the life of me in our pregame talk here, who were just on fire. Cameron Hayward caused so many problems on that front line, and they kept lining him up against, what's the big rookie, Richie? Do you remember his name? Big guy, but he's a rookie.
I can't remember.
He just couldn't handle Hayward's experience.
Dude, ain't nobody can handle Cam Hayward. I told you, if Aaron Donald didn't exist, Cam Hayward would get way more recognition that he deserves. Yeah. But because of Aaron Donald, Cam Hayward doesn't get that respect. Cam Hayward's incredible.
Disrupting the whole pocket and the whole situation, putting Joe Burrow in a lot of danger. But as a Steelers fan, to what cost? We really need an offense, and I'm gonna just go ahead and throw Trubisky under the bus. I don't care what the situation is. Those passes were terrible. I didn't really see any on target passes outside of 8 yards. And I'm willing to sit in a park with a sign that says "Prove me wrong," because everything else was over, under, outside, and there's nothing you can do when the main goal of the defense can be, we got to shut down Johnson, right? Steelers are purposefully not using Claypool because of his mistakes. We don't have Juju. There's not a lot of other options out there. You're going to have to get past that 10 yards and be more accurate than a sophomore in college. I don't know. I didn't like Trubisky's play at all, and I know I've always ragged on Ben, but I want him back, because he was at least a good quarterback. He just made a lot of really dumb decisions. But the defense played incredible, but now we're in a situation, and I think Richie's right. Pittsburgh always finds a way to get through it. TJ Watt, absolutely a major loss, and if they're getting second, third, and fourth opinions right now on this torn pec. But if that's it, then that's it. Najee has been dealing with that injury on his foot, the Lisfranc injury since training camp. Hopefully that doesn't persist, but he was not really that successful in his attempts. The Cincinnati kind of had his number on the run plays that the Pittsburgh tried to run. But props to the defense, absolutely. I think Cincinnati needs to just kind of shake the Super Bowl hangover off. But to their defense, this wasn't just because Pittsburgh's not going to be a playoff contender doesn't mean that defense wasn't one of the strongest presences this first week of football in the NFL, because it was definitely shut down defense between TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, I can't talk tonight, Cam Hayward, and of course Alex Highsmith, who also brought down an interception. So props to all those guys. All right. Enough with my one and only point this season. Let's move on. Patriots, Dolphins. Dolphins shut the Patriots down 20-7. Do you guys want to pass that, or you want to play it?
I'll do a quick play.
Yeah, if you want to pass, you guys always get the one shot at them for sure.
Okay, well, here, I'll say this much. Hey, Tua has never lost to New England Patriots. That's an interesting stat. He's 4-0. This was a weird game. They should have won larger. So it is kind of concerning, because that's what we've been talking about. Tua. Tyreek was looking great, but like I said, I picked up Waddle for a reason, because Tyreek going to start getting doubled mid-season, and Waddle's going to go off. This offense has the chance to be special. This was not that game, but we'll see. This is one of those games where Miami, we're still waiting. I feel like it was like the Cincinnati and the Rams game. Too early to just be like, write them off in terms of like what happened. But this was not a spectacular showing. But hey, they got the win, which is what matters against New England. So, division rival.
Absolutely. Sahe, what do you think, man?
Tyreek Hill special. He's a guy. No matter where he goes, I think their offense is going to be really nice. I can't wait to see how they progress throughout the season. I want to see them match up with the Bills and see if they could go blow for blow. That'll be the real test in that division, right?
Absolutely.
Hey, you're right. I think that'll be fireworks when it happens.
Yeah, that'll be an exciting game. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let me just point out, just in case you guys pass it, this is another instance of someone switching sides. We had Baker Mayfield's return to the Cleveland Browns in the Browns-Panthers game. Browns came out 26-24. You guys want to pass or you want to play?
He can play. Baker Mayfield said he wanted to fuck those guys up. You know what I'm saying?
He did.
He said that, and then he was getting ragged on most of the game. Myles Garrett, just destroyed Baker Mayfield in that offensive line routinely that game. The Browns played a hell of a game. I even switched it off, but I guess at some point the Panthers did take the lead, which I was surprised. My brother's a big Browns fan, and what's the kicker for the Browns now? Something Cross or Hurd or?
Oh, geez. Kate York.
Cade York.
Yeah, York.
My brother, he just texted me Cade York, all exclamation points. I'm like, who the heck is Cade York? Why is he
know his name?
Right. And then I look, I'm like, oh wow, they came down to a final field goal.
Yeah.
That is wild. So another instance of a wild game. Baker Mayfield, I guess, was able to pull it together there towards the end. But one of the hardest things to do in the NFL is to get a lead and hold a lead, because you've got guys in there that are fighting constantly. So it's going to be, because I thought the Panthers with Baker Mayfield were going to be a team to watch out for. I thought they were going to be a lot more competitive early on against the Browns, but they're not. The Browns are going to be a good team. These are two teams that are just like on the fences this year. So I don't think we could judge either one of them after this game. It's going to take a few weeks for me to have a full opinion on these guys, but hell of a game.
Yeah, it was a game. Here's what I'll say. Carolina got screwed. You can't do a fake spike and then spike. That is a rule, and they let it happen. So huge problem with that they wouldn't have gotten the field goal. Having said that, if you're going to whoop those guys' asses, then you should have done better. So I don't really care that Carolina, you know what I mean? Like Baker got 17 in the fourth, but he had a very pedestrian game, quite frankly. And so for Cleveland, this is a huge win. You got Jacoby Brissett, you don't have Deshaun, and you managed with all that drama and all honestly, Baker trying to say he wasn't trying to create it, but making the t-shirts and all this other garbage and talking. And I'm not trying to say bad things about Baker, but the point is Baker made this a big game just by his talk. So, for Cleveland, Myles Garrett, showed up and was Myles Garrett, and you got that running offense. So for Cleveland, great win. I'm not holding this against Carolina because Baker got signed pretty late. He hasn't had time really to work with this offense. So, this is too early to be like, oh man, Baker's a bust and Carolina's going to suck. It's too early. He really came in late. But the bottom line is I didn't expect Cleveland to win this game. I thought this was a game Cleveland would lose just because I have no hope in their quarterback. But you know what? Cleveland did what they needed to do. They got it done. And Cade York, you know his name now, man. That was a field goal. That was an McPherson moment to me because say his name because that was a field goal. So kudos to Cleveland.
58 yards.
Rookie. Man, that's a big one. Well, I'll just say this, Baker. You can't talk a Conor McGregor game and then come out fighting like Chuck Liddell. Let's move on to
he can still a fight.
Chuck Liddell? Liddell got me.
Mayfield.
Oh, okay. Yeah, true. I was going to say, Chuck Liddell got me knocked out in high school. You know the best about this. Okay, so maybe we'll dig that out of the archives and put that on Patreon one of these weeks. All right.
That would be hilarious.
Colts versus Texans, another one that went into overtime, ended up in a tie 2020. Do we want to pass or do we want to play it?
I'll say this. God dang, 4th and 3, Houston. Come on, man. Don't play for the fucking tie. It's 4th and 3. Try to get the ball. If you don't get it, okay, your defense has a chance to stop them. It's not like they were going to turn it over on 4th and 3 and have them immediately in field goal range. It would have been 20 seconds. They had a couple timeouts. Matt Ryan probably would have got those guys in field goal range and won the game. But geez, nobody wants to see a tie like that. But the Colts had a chance to win it. They missed the field goal. But man, the Texans, are they for real or just the Colts just that horribly coached? Because I feel like the Colts have an awesome roster. I don't think they should be losing to teams like the Jaguars and the Texans. You lost to Clown Town last year, couldn't get in the playoffs, and you start the year off by tying with the Texans. It's not going to be good for the morale in that locker room. Hopefully Matt Ryan can get those boys together, because those boys are going to be looking at him like, man, 25-3, Matt, or 28-3, Matt. You think you're going to do something for us? How come you didn't do nothing for them boys in Atlanta in the Super Bowl? Now you got us tying with the Texans. God dang, you know what I'm saying? So, but another great game to watch, because you just never know what was going to happen.
It was a great game to watch. Davis Mills is, hey, he might be something. They might have a quarterback. Last year he did great. That game wasn't too bad. But here's my thing. If you're a Colts fan, you're very disappointed. Jonathan Taylor had like 160 yards rushing. Michael Pittman Jr. had like 120 yards receiving, and you tied the game. Like, you see those stats and you think, okay, my wide receiver and my running back did great. And then you tied the game to the pedestrian Texans. So, getting Matt Ryan, this was not the start you want, right? Because all they've been talking about all offseason, Jim Irsay, is shitting on Carson Wentz and how terrible he was. And at least now we got Matt Ryan, at least, and we'll figure it out later. Well, you tied the Houston Texans, so it's still one game, still early, but I feel like if I'm a Colts fan, I'm more disappointed than like the Bengals fan or the Rams fan, because it's just like, it's the Texans, and you tied them when your offense was doing well. So it just seems inexplicable. As a fan, we always love these tight games. This is a cool, close game. But man, I'm very disappointed in the Colts, man. That is not what I wanted to see. I wanted to see them be a contender. And I see this game, and I'm very kind of like, I'm not sold now. It's early, but
A lot of this season. Moving on, we got the Saints and the Falcons. Another close one. Saints pulled it out 27-26. You guys want to one-shot it, or you want to play it?
I'll one-shot it, but if he wants to play it, he'll play it, because I only got one thing to say about these teams.
One-shot this. I'm not,
Go for it.
Yeah, the one thing I'm going to say about both these teams is both of them trash. All right? Atlanta still can't hold a lead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To save their damn lives. And how are you getting down to the Falcons in the first place, Saint?
Exactly.
Y'all think y'all supposed to contend with us? Y'all sorry. All right? And I'm just like this because oh, come on, not another one. But I was playing 2K last night with a Falcons fan and a Saints fan, and they were talking big because my gamer tag is TB Buccaneers 247 on Xbox. If anybody wants to get whooped, Madden or 2K, but they were talking, and I'm just like, man, both of y'all trash. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, like, come on, like, what is this? 27-26. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I will completely say the same thing. Taysom Hill was the Saints' leading rusher. I mean, that's what he needs to do because he can't do anything else. But I just don't. Where's this formula? And I'm not saying Jameis Winston's bad, but it's just like, okay, Taysom Hill's your guy, and then Jarvis Landry, and then maybe Michael Thomas. But how do you barely beat Atlanta? And how did Atlanta even get in the lead? Like I know Sahe already said that. what is going on? The two trash teams. The South is a joke. Like, they're a joke. Like, holy, yeah, Trey, yeah, sorry, Trey, but it's true. I mean, at least you got a boss tight end coming your way. You know, like, he's a stud, but that's all you got to look forward to, at least for this year. I'm sorry,
That's
man.
what you get for taking a week off, Trey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we go shit talk you.
Extra hard.
All right, we got the Ravens. They put the Jets away 24-9. You guys want to pass?
Pass for me.
Yeah,
that's not even worth discussing. You know, Baltimore's Baltimore. We've already talked about how well they are as a team. New York Jets suck. Let's move on.
Moving on. We had the Commanders versus the Jaguars. Came out Commanders 28 to 22. You guys want to pass that one shot it or play it?
I'd rather pass.
I'll say this.
Okay.
Carson Wentz. Good on you. They dogged you. They had a reporter come out and talk shit about you. It was like,
to your face.
Right. He was like, they didn't want you in Indy. They didn't want you in Philly. How does it feel being a shitty quarterback and no team wants you? He said this to Carson Wentz's face. And Carson Wentz, the most professional way, he just, you know what I'm saying, took it and went on with it. Which is, I would too, getting paid the amount of money he's getting paid. But good on you for getting a win week 1, you know, starting it off right, because it would have been real loud had they lost, you know.
Well, you said all the Carson Wentz like slander, which some of it's legit. But man, this whole offseason was how terrible he is, Jimmy Irsay constantly. And just like Sahe said, it was just so funny to me. Like, Philly hated you. Indy hates you. All the fans of the NFL hate you and think you're a diva and you're whiny and you're overrated. What do you have to say?
Right. Quite honestly, you should just give the fuck up. What do you feel about that?
Walk it to him, man. Got the win. Let's go.
All right. Next, we've got two-time quarterback MVP Aaron Rodgers coming out to start out the season. Lost to the Minnesota Vikings 23-7. Do you want to pass one shot or play this one?
I'll say one shot.
All right.
Here's what I got to say. Kirk Cousins has a winning record against Aaron Rodgers since he joined Minnesota. So, hey, A-Rob, maybe you should talk a little less shit. Also, I don't understand how Justin Jefferson was single covered half that game. He had 184 yards. I wish I could have got him in fantasy. I was not that lucky. I mean, technically I could have picked the white boy. So, nonetheless, Justin Jefferson is a superstar. I'm very looking forward to watching Minnesota this year. This doesn't mean they're a playoff team and yada yada and Green Bay sucks. But this is another example, just like last year, where Green Bay lost their opener and they turned it around no problem. So this means nothing to Green Bay. But for Minnesota, this is what you wanted to see. You get rid of Zimmer. Everyone said he was toxic for you. Dalvin Cook is back on track. He's healthy. Justin Jefferson almost goes off for 200 yards. The only guy to have more yards than him is, you know, at his age at this point was Randy Moss. He's a special guy. It was a great game for Minnesota. If you're a Minnesota fan, you got to feel pretty good watching what's happening. So.
I will say, you know, even though I was irritated at the time at NFL Red Zone for switching to like overtime games over just to show me Justin Jefferson's gritty, I have to agree. He could do the gritty and he can play the receiver role.
He can definitely do the gritty, man. Don't be hating on
he's
that,
so
man.
nice. I'm about to learn the gritty tonight.
Right?
Yeah, I need to learn how to do that shit.
Yeah.
All right, Sahe, did you have a one shot? You want to keep rolling?
No, Richie said it. I was just going to say how the Packers aren't worried about losing week 1. They got destroyed last year. They'll be all right.
Destroyed last year, even worse than that.
Next up, we have the New York Giants and the Titans coming down to 1 point. The Giants pulled it out 21-20. You guys want to pass it? You want to one shot it, or would you like to play it?
I got a one shot.
Yeah, go ahead.
You want to play it?
Nah, I don't want
Saquon Barkley. Why did you have to have a good game when I benched you? Please. I mean, I still won. But why? Saquon Barkley has been a bust. I'm sorry. When we talked about his hype and his talent and his athleticism, and yes, he got injured, but he's been a bust. And this boy, hit the bricks for like 160 yards or something. So I was sitting here like, what is going on? Like, I benched him because I was just like, I figured Montgomery with the rain was going to get more carries. I'm sorry, this is a fantasy football rant and not about the game, but Saquon Barkley looked great in all seriousness, and that's what we want to see. We want to see, like, Saquon Barkley is a special talent, and his injury, it's been unfortunate to watch him not really recover. I hope this is more like to come for Saquon Barkley. If you're Tennessee, it's same thing we already talked about. Mike Vrabel is a fantastic coach. This is just, an unfortunate loss, but it's not indicative of their season. They're a great team, and I'm not concerned. If you're a Tennessee fan, you shouldn't be concerned. You just got Saquon Barkley. It is what it is.
Sahe?
Yeah, this is all I got to say is the start Malik Willis party bus is boarding now. If anybody wants to get on and start that bus and like ride it all around town, honk the horn and make it loud down there in Tennessee, let's do it, because let's get Tannehill out of it. We shouldn't be losing to Giants.
He literally cost them the game against the Bengals. Literally. Yeah. There's nothing else to say. I know he's getting, I agree with you. I know there's a big discrepancy in pay, but he's the reason they lost to the Bengals. What else is there? Like, he literally lost them the game to the Bengals. Joe Burrow was sacked, 11 times? I think it was 9, actually. But it felt like 30 times, to be honest.
Right.
I'm surprised Joe Burrow was able to get up. But, and Tannehill, who was standing upright most of the game, was more useless than Joe Burrow. I agree. Get Malik in there now. Why not? Take a chance. Especially after this game, you lose to the New York Giants. What's there to lose? Why not? Go for it. Go for it. Your A.J. Brown's out. You got a rookie wide receiver. You have, the king. You're going to be using him anyways. Put Willis in there. Let's see what he can do. I'm all about it.
Let him run around back there.
All right, we got 3 more, and then we'll briefly touch, breaking the fourth while we record on Monday. So the Broncos Seahawks going on now. We'll touch that. But Raiders Chargers, that ended up Chargers on top 24-19. You guys want to one-shot that, or would you like to pass it?
One shot for sure.
I gotta take play out of the picture. Game. We're short on time.
I know. Chargers, we're dominating the whole game. And I was surprised it ended up being the score was so close. I don't feel like it was that close. If you watch the game, the Chargers look phenomenal, and getting Khalil Mack looked like he was, when he was on the Raiders. So Chargers look great. If you're LA, Las Vegas, let's try that again. Rough start, really rough start. Carr was on his ass all game, but having said that, to barely lose after really not clicking, you can't be too worried about it. But man, the Chargers look scary.
You got a one shot on that one, Sahe?
Yeah, not really.
Okay. I do want to point out that's the third instance Khalil Mack playing against his former team. Moving on, we've got the Chiefs and the Cardinals. Kyler Murray, I just need you to, make my fantasy picks worth it. We Chiefs finished that one off 44-21. I've got them on both teams, and it's just a rough.
Oh, you do? Oh.
Yeah, it's just sad.
I had him last year, brother. I ended up dropping him. Yeah. He started off strong and went nowhere. I'll just try to do a quick little blurb here. Kansas City, wow. Tyreek Hill, who cares? You got the white boy. Travis Kelce, life is good. They looked incredible, quite frankly. Arizona, they look like a mess. It's one game, just like the Cincinnati thing. If they have a problem in game 2, then we're going to see. Then I'll be a little worried about Arizona. But Kansas City looked phenomenal. Buffalo and them are like, hey, let's go. I want our playoff match again. It was cool to see that. They were 30-38, I think. Patrick Mahomes, incredible.
Sahe, you got a one shot for the Chiefs and the Cardinals?
Yeah, the Chiefs are once again. I'm not going to say that. They played the Cardinals. It was one game. Patrick Mahomes has been flying under the radar all off season, so people kind of low key forgot about him. I think the Cardinals just aren't ready to be looked at as a Super Bowl contending team. They'll be pushing for the playoffs for sure, but they just ran into a team that's been doing it for a long time. They added some new pieces. One of their best pieces left, but they're still the same team that they were for the most part. So they're going to look good at times. They're going to struggle, but look for the Cardinals to pull it together. Kyler Murray is going to be in that film room at least 4 hours a week, so watch out.
I'm gonna need him to bump that up to 20 hours a week.
No. He was only requested 4 hours in his contract. So.
That's true. Yeah, he has to be there 4 hours a week. All right, last game, and then we'll briefly cover the Monday night game. We've got Bucks and the Cowboys, a one shot from each of you. Obviously, do want to point out Dak Prescott. They're saying 6 to 8 weeks now that he's fractured his thumb in this matchup. Buccaneers came out on top 19-3. What you guys got?
I got Lenny, man. Oh, he's on my fantasy. Let's go.
Hey.
100, like almost 130 yards, I think. He didn't get a tub, which surprised me because that's usually what he does. But yeah, he played great. Tampa looked good. Dallas looked garbage. Not much else to say.
I'll say this. Dallas has been one of the top offenses in the league, especially when Dak Prescott plays. So I was really nervous about this game, especially comparing it to last year's game, where it was really close, especially going down to the end. I was just like, my main concern was seeing how Julio Jones played. I really hope Chris Godwin hadn't played. He got hurt in this game. He tweaked his hamstring. And my biggest concern was how would the defense look? And the defense looked phenomenal all game. I think the league has something to watch out for. The Bucs secondary, which has been a weak link for the Buccaneers for the longest time, at least the last 6-7 years, is grown up, and they've become a strong point for this team. And we're going to be a lot of troubles. That defense is here.
All right, and then of course we do record on Monday nights. I will bring this up. Well, just a quick one shot. None of us have really got to watch the game because we're recording, but I did bring up early on. Seahawks have been holding a lead for a while, and Sahe, you brought it up earlier. Hard to get a lead and keep it. We're 12 minutes 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Seahawks up 17-13. Again, this is the fourth instance of a player switching sides and playing. This is just playing in. If you want to get involved in the comments too, the NFL sets this up on purpose. Here's your conspiracy thread in the comments there. You guys have anything for this matchup with Russell Wilson now on the Broncos?
That's very surprising to me right now how the Seahawks have the lead. But the Seahawks, the Broncos should be winning. Their last two possessions ended inside the 5-yard line with fumbles. So they've got a ball security issue I can see right now. They've got to clean that up if they want to compete, especially in that division that they're in. And they've got to find a way to pull this one out. I'll be interested to see how this shakes out because they just got the ball back with 12 minutes left, like you said. So can Russell cook? Let's see how Russ cooks, right?
Absolutely. Richie?
Yeah, I concur. You can't afford in that AFC West to lose this game against Seattle. You can't afford that. That's the Raiders. That's the Chargers. Oof. Like that is not you lose to Seattle. Like, it's gonna be a rough season.
Well, this episode was down to the wire. We're the Wire Sports Podcast.
We did it.
Yeah, I did the thing. Folks, let us know what you think about all of week 1. We'll be back with some more week 2. Hey, just buckle in. We're mostly NFL this whole time. We've got a little NBA, some stuff kind of moving around. I heard some KD rumors that we'll have to get into at some point. But Let us know in the comments what you want to hear, what you want to see. Real fast plugs, because we're almost out of time here. This is the Wire Sports Podcast. We're on every Wednesday. We are the flagship show of H2G Radio, the longest running podcast on the network. We're going to be back next week and every week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Fridays. Every Friday when you wake up, there's going to be a new episode of Free Mess on Fridays. And it's just out of this world. You need to get over there and check it out. That's all I can say. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. I'm not going to give you any major plugs.
Nope.
Just go check it out. There's a reason that they're doing so well. True Crime for the Innocent Mind, also on fire. Getting into some deep stuff, finishing off season 1 with some creepypasta. Shouts out to the LPN. Actors Podcast is going to be coming out with a second season soon, focusing more on keeping the work once you got it. And the entire first season has been released of the Boss Dog Show, all 6 episodes. So if you're into customer service and you want to hear them bitch about it, go check it out. It's fantastic. H2G Podcast, or H2G Radio, the Wire Sports Podcast. I'm Justo. Live, laugh, love like it's your laughs. And hey, stay classy, fuckers.
Peace.
Peace.
Do the Nate Diaz.
Do the gritty. Do the gritty.